annual.
What's going on, Knicks Nation? We are back. Knicks and Bruises in the building. Yo, Black is time. I got the Queen with me. We just finished the Queen's Court,
Appreciate you.
the doubleheader. You know, we back on schedule. Peace, Queen. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy 4th of July to you.
Appreciate it. Likewise, same back to you. Shout out to the chat. Happy 4th of July. I hope you guys are not missing fireworks for me. But if you are, I appreciate you. You know, I definitely appreciate you. Um, it's been I'm still getting my things back in order from the draft party. You know, we
It's
had
true. It's true. It's true.
we had so much fun there, and you know, my vacation was extended. I feel like we just been missing each other and everything, but I think we're back on schedule.
Mhm.
Um, Today, my initial question for you guys is, you know, where we are with this current roster. Obviously, we haven't seen the game played, but this is the best Knicks team since ... dot. I'm gonna start with you, Queen. I don't know if you had some time to think about it. I know I gave you a little bit of a heads up, but
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on this? Is the best Knicks roster since?
Probably since 2 seasons ago. Um, because I'm just going on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Um, obviously it'll change once I see them play, and if there's chemistry and things break right, it could be a very good team. But right now, I'm going by the Randall we saw last season, the RJ we saw last season, who did take a step. Um, I think this team, is probably the best team since 2 seasons ago when we went to the playoffs. You can argue that this is a more talented team,
Mm-hmm.
but that team defensively was really good and the chemistry was really good and they played hard. So this team could be better than that team, but on paper, I got to go with that team. I feel like this team hasn't
Mm.
been activated yet.
You know what?
Hasn't been activated yet for me to see it. Now, if Randall gets back to form, if RJ takes the next step, if can't, then this team could be very good and better than that team.
All right. Well, I mean, I slightly disagree with you, but I agree with you because I see where you're coming from. We haven't seen anything yet, you
Right.
know. So, but I like when we don't agree 100%, so we can kind of push off of
Hmm.
each other and
Hmm.
and give different perspective. You know, Queen's Court. It felt like a little while ago. It felt like we agreed on every single point. You know what
Right.
I mean? Which is nice sometimes too.
Right.
But I think this might be the best team since 2013, 2012, 13. When we also made the playoffs, prior to that 2 seasons ago,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I just feel like this is the most balanced roster that we've seen in a long time. Um, Biggest need filled, obviously. You could argue point guard position since Jason Kidd, since
Hmm.
Raymond Felton at the backup,
Hmm.
and I can make an argument prior prior to that with Stephon Marbury, best, at least at the point guard position, best point guard we've had since him. And I
Hmm.
think that means a world of difference. When you think about 2012, 2013 in particular, I think the biggest difference in that season was Jason Kidd, was us having an adequate point guard past his prime, but
Mhm.
true point guard. You know what I mean? And you can argue that Brunson is not a true point guard, and we can maybe talk about that tonight or another night.
Mhm.
But as far as like just ability and talent, no question, best point guard we've had since Jason Kidd, um, who, like I said, was past his prime at that time. And I
Mhm.
really think that makes a world of difference. Um, Defensively, great argument you made with that team 2 years ago. We don't know what this team is going to be defensively,
Right.
but I think we have the talent, whether it shows up, excuse me, and presents itself or not.
Mhm.
I feel like Cam has the potential to be at least as good of a defender than Bullock. But I would argue even better because his ability on the defensive end, I think, or potential defensively, I think is greater than what Bullock does. You know what I mean? Even with Bullock's great defense, I think he has certain limitations that I think Cam could fill if he reaches his potential. But again, it's like you said, it's always based off of what they do rather on what they're capable of. But I really believe like this has to be the best team we've had since 2012, 13. And I'll say roster construction. Let's say that.
I was about to
Since, since,
say
since
because that's
so
what we're comparing. We're
yeah.
comparing one team on paper and another team that we actually saw through the
So
course of a season. So it's kind of a hard
it
comparison
abs-
because I can see it going both ways. On paper, this team is more talented than that team on paper. Will they actually become a better team? It remains to be seen because what's the chemistry going to be like? Like there's so many factors, and I would feel more comfortable if I knew what Randall we were getting. If I knew what RJ we were getting. Now, I don't expect RJ to regress. It's
mhm,
just that, at some point you kind of know what you have in a player.
mhm.
Even though they're gonna improve here and there, you kind of know. Um, yeah, I just think there's a few unknowns with Cam as well because he came over, he only played 10 games, 11. I- So it's a lot of unknowns, but on paper, if you want to say this is the most talented team since 2012, 2013, I would not disagree with that. I would
Yeah,
not disagree.
yeah. I had to change it because
Mhm.
it's unfair to compare something you haven't seen to something you've seen,
Right.
and so I had to change it. Roster construction, best
Yeah.
we've seen. You,
Yeah.
you you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I would agree with that.
You mentioned Randall, and we talked, I believe, off air before we started Queen's Court, and I said I think he's the biggest X factor besides Cam. Obviously, we
Mhm.
spoke about it before. We'll mention it again. But I think if Randall just loses the attitude and the off court things, and even if his game, obviously, I don't want him to play to the with the percentages that he did last year. But even if he did, I think the addition of Brunson, you know, I think that still changes everything. And Randall could have a subpar season and still have adequate enough numbers and impact to where it's not as bad as it really looked as last year. Um
Because this is the thing with Randall and the Brunson. Randall has so much gravity. His energy is strong. Not just, I'm not even talking about on the court. But now you got Brunson there. He's not going to have that type of pull, so to speak, anymore in terms of energy. So
Randall.
I can see him, Randall, I can see him going on his tangent and whatever, and Brunson still holding it down in terms of,
Hmm.
let him do what he need to do. What he's gonna do, he's imploding, whatever he's doing. We need to stay focused. We know what needs to happen. And I don't think we had that, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
And I think that's what Brunson gives us. If Randall wants to go off, we have a leader now. who's been in the league for a long time that's able to galvanize those who are still focused. And I'm not saying Randall threw the other guys off. I think they still stayed focused through his antics, but I think it'll be even better now with
Yes,
Brunson. He's not gonna
I,
have that same pull.
exactly, and I won't say it threw everybody off, but I guarantee it affected some people at times. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
Hmm.
now, if you have what I would like to call like a stabilizer, you know what I mean, in Brunson, everybody can gravitate there, and like you said, you know what I mean. Randall's having his moment. Maybe they just let him have his moment over there, and it just it doesn't affect everybody else. And who knows if it did or if it didn't, but it's still nice to have that guy that could kind of settle things down. And I also think it makes it easier having a guy like Brunson there. It makes it easier for Tibbs to make a tough decision that he may not have done as often or as quickly as he should have in whether to sit Randall, sit him sooner or whatever the case, and let him calm down. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And you can argue that Randall knows now that this is not his team alone. Um, you know, you can argue that last year, no matter what people said, he still felt like this was my team. There's nobody here to challenge that. I don't care what Obi is doing or what the fans is chanting. I don't care if they calling RJ's name. This is still my team. You bring Brunson is that leaves a little down in his mind, like whose team is this really?
Hmm.
Um, but I have a hypothetical for you.
Hmm.
The Eastern Conference is tight. Brunson and all NBA Randall, where would that put us?
Um, 6 seed minimum. I mean, not even 6 seed with a window for like I said earlier, 6 seed with a window for 7, 8. I'm not
Mhm,
earlier. Last week, 6 seed with a window for seventh, eighth.
mhm.
But I wouldn't even put it past a window for fifth and fourth. You know
I'm
what I
talking
mean?
all NBA Randall, like the way he played 2 seasons ago, and then you
I
add Brunson to that.
I
That's
I
crazy.
I know. And I don't want to leave out playing. You know what I mean? Even with all NBA Randall, because the East has gotten better. The argument everyone made last year, I'm conceding to. I guess this year, even though there's some unknowns. Obviously, Brooklyn, we don't know what they're gonna be, and to me, that's an opportunity for
Mhm,
anybody trying to jump into that spot. And then Philly, we expect things to be similar to what they were last year as far as the roster. But who knows? Nothing has been solidified yet, so we don't know what's going on there.
mhm,
And I feel like all the writing is not on the wall in the league right now. There's
mhm,
still some guys out there. There's still some potential trades to be made. So I do think certain teams are going to get better. Miami's another one. I feel like they're in prime position to make a move to solidify themselves as a top 3 seed. The next 3 to 5 years.
mhm,
Um, so I'll say 6 seed being the medium, potential to maybe fall to 7, 8. I don't think it goes lower than that, which is still good to me. It's a you only got to win one to get in the playoffs at that point, and then
mhm,
even with the window to move up to fourth seed or fifth seed, and and
mhm,
and, and home court or you know fifth or sixth. So I think it's great, man. I think the future. Listen, I don't even think we have to have all NBA Randall to potentially get six. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But
A lot would have to break right though.
absolutely, I think
Yeah.
RJ has to um, be stabilized and kind of start off where he ended last year, even if it doesn't increase from that. I think we'll need that 100%. And that was a great question, Quinn. I appreciate it. Always adding content to the
Mhm,
show.
mhm, mhm. I mean, this team can go either way. It can fall flat on their face with chemistry issues and Randall still imploding, RJ not taking the next step, or it could just take off. It could just take off. So yeah.
I'm actually glad you said that because I was trying to say it earlier, but you had your question and I did
Mhm.
forget, but you just reminded me. Um, Another thing I wanted to point out was even 2 years ago with that great season, right? Or yeah, I'll say great season.
Mhm.
We got off to a very slow start.
We
You,
did.
you, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And as was last year, a slow start. I mean, minus the first 5 or 6 games or so, where
Hmm.
we look superb. But so even with the chemistry issues, I expect it to take some time. I don't expect us to come out the gate and be a well oiled machine, if you will. So I think that is definitely going to take some time, and I think it's starting to look like Tibbs run teams, or at least Tibbs here in New York. That's the mo. Slow start. You know what I mean? Even with our bad year last year, we picked it up
Hmm.
as the season went on. You know what I mean? We were playing, as messed up as it sounds. I think some of our best basketball happened in our worst stretch. In that 3-17 stretch
Hmm.
was some of our best basketball. We just couldn't sustain it throughout 48 minutes.
Right.
But I say all that to say that I feel like um we're gonna be our best again second half of the season. So it's really about how balanced can we be to start.
Hmm.
How, like, can we negate that up and down and just be steady to start, and then kind of just incline and get better as the season progresses. And again, I really believe the addition of Brunson will help that.
Will help that. I mean, I'm okay with a bumpy road to start. I'm even Boston started out with a bumpy road as well, so I'm okay with that until we gel. If this team gets chemistry, it's going to be dangerous. But I just want to address Wacko in Brooklyn. When I say we already know what RJ is, I mean at his floor, we know what to expect. Obviously, he can be better. Okay, so please listen. At his floor, you know what you're gonna get from RJ. And yeah, he can definitely get better. He's not a he's not, in my opinion, like a Randall where you don't know what you're gonna get. He's not a Cam where you don't know what you're gonna get. So that's what I mean when I say with RJ, you kind of know who he is, you know what you're gonna get, but you can actually get more. So that's
Hmm.
that's that's actually what I meant.
We know
What I
what the
meant by that.
minimum. We know what the
You know what
minimum
the
will
minimum you're
be.
gonna get from RJ. Randall is a wild card, you know?
Yeah, we would have never thought his minimum was what it was last year.
Right. And and you
And you
can
can put that on
argue,
offensive and defensive
right,
and attitude and so many different
so
areas.
many different things. And you can argue that as poor as Randall played, he was still 2010. Like that's how talented this guy is. As poor as he played, he was still 2010-5. If he has an attitude adjustment, that's going to help us because I think his value is low. Unless something surprising happens, Randall is going to be on this team and he's going to start. Period. He's going to start. You
Agreed.
know, so if his head is in the game, like you said, Tony, I could deal with his game, but I need his head to be in the game, and I need him to be playing both sides of the ball. That's the issue. Him honing his emotions. That's it. But anyway, I
All right.
digress.
So tonight will be a short show. And Queen, if you're available Wednesday before we do crossover, maybe we'll do like a second half of the show. Because
Mhm.
I see I got things going on in the background. I know they're ready to do the fireworks and stuff.
Mhm.
So as you guys know, my faithful followers, again, appreciate you guys for joining me. Shout out to the chat. Every now and again I do quick hits with Sim on a late night tip. Tonight it's gonna be quick hits with the Queen. I got a couple of questions I'm gonna throw at her.
Okay.
get her input, and I'll answer them. And chat, I'm gonna be looking. I'm gonna be paying attention to you guys. So if you have answers to these questions as well, I would be very interested to see you guys' answers. This is not necessarily basketball on the floor related. All of these questions,
Hmm.
but it's just like a fun little segment I like to do. So my question number one. Let me see. Uh, all right. What Knicks players or player
Hmm.
would you like to start a podcast? Like if one of the Knicks player or players was going to start their own podcast, who would you want to see do their own podcast? And you think you would tune into this?
To the podcast, it would be Brunson because I think that
Mm.
he's level headed. I think you can get some gems on his. His it's gonna be a solid show. It's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. It's probably gonna be more than you expect. Like Draymond Green, it just he's a winner. It just covers all areas, and I think you'll get an opportunity to also get a glimpse into how he thinks and who he is as a person. Somebody said Money Mitch. That'll definitely be a fun
See.
podcast. But Brunson would be like, he dropping some knowledge in this podcast. I'm gonna tune in.
So I wasn't expecting that, but when you said like Draymond Green, it clicked. It made perfect sense.
Right,
So you're thinking like something maybe after the game or once a week,
right,
talking about the games and
right,
things of that
right,
nature.
right,
I agree with you 100%. My
right.
answer, who said that in the chat? Eddie C, shout out to you.
Yeah,
Victor Martinez, shout out to you as well.
yeah, yeah.
And I think somebody else said it too. Hold on, I don't want to miss you guys. Oh, it was Victor again, Victor Martinez. I was going with Mitch too. I was
Mhm,
thinking one of the younger guys, something fun. I wasn't even thinking necessarily on basketball or on the games. So I was thinking outside the box.
mhm,
And that's why I was going with Mitch. I think it would be hilarious. You probably get some Twitch talking there. You probably get very little basketball with
right,
Mitch, but
right,
it
right.
would be very, very, very fun. But I agree with you as well. If we're talking about basketball after the game, breaking it down, things of
Mhm,
that nature. Yeah, I would love to see. I'll even go further. I'll say Brunson and IQ like together, or
mhm,
Brunson and Quentin Grimes together. Like I would love to see it from like two guys, that a young guy
mhm,
and a veteran, to kind of like give some
mhm.
balance
Right.
and see what Brunson could teach the young guy, and then maybe
Mhm,
the young guy give you a different perspective. But shout out to you guys, dope answers, and I'm glad we have two different ones too. So
mhm.
let me I'm sorry, my phone. I got my questions written down in my phone. What else did I have? Um, and I think the name of this segment was going to be NickPickin.
Okay.
I think that's the picture I have up in the thumbnail as well. So, what Knicks player or players would you like to see a movie on their life?
Mm, that's that is interesting. I think Obi Toppin would be a good movie. With his dad, not being highly touted out of high school, having to go to Dayton, and then winding up a top 10 draft pick. I think that would be a good one. I already saw a documentary of Brunson's life up until Villanova, and that was interesting as well. RJ Randall. Who else is on the team? Cam, Quick. I would say Obi.
Obi. All right. Again, shout out to the chat because they are with me again. I'm sorry, not JJ, but shout out to you, JJ. James Glass, Derrick Rose, Thomas Banks, Derrick Rose. I thought there was another Derrick Rose out there. That's my pick,
I've
Derrick
seen Mitch
Rose.
as well. Somebody said
Yeah,
Mitch.
yeah,
That
yeah.
would be a good one too,
That
because he
would be
started playing basketball late.
late. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. But I'm going with Derrick Rose. I'm going with Derrick Rose. That's my pick. Um, I mean, you talking about youngest MVP in NBA history, at least at the time. You're talking about overcoming injuries,
Mm-hmm.
overcoming, being the arguably best player in the league, to
Mm-hmm.
learning how to not be that, and then learning how to not be the number one guy, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of just fitting in with or learning how to adapt. But
Right.
but not only that, I think you can't have the Derrick Rose movie without a bunch of Tom Thibodeau features. As far as whoever plays him, he's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
all throughout the movie. So it's almost like a two-part. It's just like a two-part movie. If you get
Right.
a movie on Derrick Rose life, it's gonna be a lot of Tibbs in there as well.
That's true.
You might get a Brunson cameo, if you guys know about the history with Brunson playing in Chicago, and things of that nature. So it would be a Derrick Rose movie, but it'd be a lot of Knicks history and tidbits
Mm-hmm.
throughout there. Two stints with the Knicks as well. So yeah, my pick is Derrick Rose. Um, and again, I definitely see a lot of Mitch out there now. Um, let's see what else I got for you. Um, what Knicks player or players would you like to see in a movie role? So now they're the actor, or playing a role as playing a role in a movie.
Mm, that's a good one. I feel like I need the roster in front of me. Let me see.
I'll go first. Why you think?
Okay. Okay.
Um, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Taj is on my list, only because I feel like Taj might be the most versatile. You know what I mean? Like you might see him play a funny role. You might
Mm-hmm.
play a serious role. You know what I mean? I feel like he will give you the most depth, and kind of surprise you in whatever he does. But
Right.
for
Right.
some reason, I just feel like he's the guy that could hit any spectrum.
Right.
Um, and then
I
I
think if
have,
it's go ahead.
if it's a comedy, I'm going with IQ and Mitchie Robinson. If it's that's comedy. If it's just a cameo, I'm gonna go RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin. If it's just like like a
Mhm.
brief 5 minute 2 minute role, I'll go with those guys. But I got Taj as my depth actor. I got I got I got Mitch and IQ if it's a comedy, and then cameos I got Toppin and RJ Barrett. Um,
Well, if it's a drama, I'm going with Randall because I'm sure he knows how to get into his feelings. He know how to get into his feeling. um, but the rest of them, it depends on the role. If you need somebody real cool, I would probably go with Sims. Like Sims is that guy. He's not gonna give you, a lot of emotions. Like he gonna just say what he gonna say, and that's it. You
for some reason, Sims was gonna be my action role, just because he's built like a GI Joe.
know?
But
Right, 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 right. Yeah, for sure. Um, Comedy. I guess Mitch, but a lot of times, yeah, I guess Sims would be perfect in a silent film.
a silent film. I was saying action just because a lot of times the action guy don't gotta say much. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like he's just beating people up and
right.
shooting the enemies and all that.
Or just standing on the side with his hands, crossed in front of him. Just his presence let you know.
Bodyguard.
Right, 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 right.
I hear you. Oh, I got one more written down, and I'm gonna try
Mhm.
to come up with one more after that, and then
Okay,
I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Uh, what Knicks player or players do you think becomes a head coach?
Brunson.
Mm.
I think Brunson becomes a head coach. I don't know if Rose if that's something Rose would want to do, but I definitely believe that he could do that. Um, I think Taj could become a head coach as well. Is that something he would want to be? But I think Brunson and Taj would be my picks for head coach. I want to play for either one of them.
That's awesome. I don't know why. Maybe recent addition. I didn't even think of Brunson, but that's a excellent answer.
Hmm.
But Taj was who I was going with. Um, and my surprise, excuse me, my surprise pick, my sleeper was actually IQ.
Hmm.
Obviously that would take the longest time before happening, but
Hmm.
just the fact that he's such a student of the game from what we know and what we hear,
Hmm.
I was definitely going with IQ. Um,
Hmm.
and shout out to
White
what is
Falcon
it? White
44.
Falcon. Yes. Shout out to you. Yeah, I agree. IQ as a coach would not surprise me. But obviously we're talking about 12 years from now. So,
Right,
um,
right.
and let me see if I can remember one of the other ones that I had. Hmm, perfect. What Nick or Knicks do you think become the next All Star member?
RJ.
RJ.
Yeah. I think it's RJ. I don't really see a lot of all stars on this team. I think RJ can make it. I mean, if we're just talking about making one all star, one or two in your
No,
entire
no, no,
year,
no, no. The next
the next RJ Barrett.
RJ Barrett.
RJ Barrett
All right.
is I think is the next um all star. Um Now if the Knicks blow up, Brunson might get it. You know what I mean? Because they'll look at who we were last year and look at us
Mm-hmm.
this year, but somebody is gonna have to produce in order for that to happen. Um, but I could see Brunson being an all-star as well, depending on how the team goes.
That actually was my answer, Brunson.
Hmm.
But I have a hot take. I mentioned this to Sim last week as well, but again, it was off the air. And shout out to Sim, the Podfather, the inspiration to my channel, the co-founder or founder or orchestrator of Queen's Court
Hmm.
and controversy. Obviously, nothing but Knicks, MBK fan. Shout out to Sim. But behind the scenes, and I do want to say it feels like behind the scenes we have so much content. After we end the stream and we just talking for an hour. I mean, and not just me and Sin, but you and I, you and Sin. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It feels like when we're talking after the stream ends,
Right.
it'd be some of the greatest conversations. But I had a hot take, and I mentioned it to him, and I said I feel like kill me now, but remember later when I'm right, or if I'm wrong, kill me some more. I think we're gonna have two All Stars this year.
Oh
Brunson,
wow.
Brunson being one of them. I believe he's the next guy to become an All Star for us. And then he asked me, well, who was the second one? I said, I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. It's out of RJ and Randall. I do feel like Randall is gonna come back and be a lot better than
Hmm.
last year. I don't know if he'll reach the plateau of 2 years ago, but
Hmm.
it wouldn't shock me. Everything I'm hearing about Randall right now, like from the outside, from
Hmm.
non Nick fans and just people either familiar with him or familiar to the area of Dallas, is Randall's in the gym and he is working out and he's putting in work. And these are the same exact things I was hearing 2 summers ago prior to the All NBA season
Hmm.
when, to toot my own horn, I dropped that my very, I believe it was my very first episode or one of my
Hmm.
very first episodes of Will Knicks fans owe Julius Randle apology. I'm not going to go on a limb and say you're going to owe him an
Hmm.
apology again,
Hmm.
but I feel like he's going to make the same type of adjustment that he did coming from year one with all the controversy with all the spin move Randall, get rid of him, he's not worth it, and then kind of show and improve it. I think we're gonna see a very similar adjustment again this year, and I wouldn't put it past RJ taking the next step and becoming a all-star. So I won't say 3, but I think 2 out of the 3 will make the all-star team this year. And yeah,
in order to
that's
get
my
2, the Knicks is finishing in the top 4.
Oh, agreed, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean by season end. That just means by All-Star break
Right.
mid-season.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, I do think that's my hot take. I'm not putting money on it, but you know, you got to sometimes you got to jump out the window
Mhm.
and see where you land. And
Right. Yeah.
that's my hot take.
Wow.
Um,
I'll say this about Randall working out. I mean, I don't think there was any question, about, his, you always saw Twitter things with him in the gym, working on his game. Maybe he'll be in more shape, better shape this
and
season,
but that's
but the mental piece, like that,
no,
there's
no,
no
no.
way to know that until he gets on the court. That's what I'm more interested in.
You're 100% right. But I don't have any insight into
Right.
that.
That's
Like
what I was hoping.
I haven't heard that. He
That's what I
said
was hoping you had some intel.
he sat down with the psychiatrist. So and this is joke. So don't kill me or don't think I'm making fun of mental
Mhm.
illness or whatever. It's
Right,
all
right,
joke.
right.
But I'm just saying the same things I was hearing 2 years ago after his first season with us. I'm
Mhm.
hearing those things again from outside sources. So you know what I mean. I'm only correlating the two. But and then as far as his shape, I remember coming into last year, they said Randall wasn't in the same shape as the year prior.
Mhm.
So whether that affected his game or whatever, I don't know. But that was definitely pointed out coming into last year's off season. He wasn't
Right.
in the same shape. He wasn't in bad shape. He just wasn't in the same shape as the year prior when he became most improved or NBA and etc. But
Right.
Queen, I appreciate you. Not quite an hour, but we back on schedule. Like I said, if you're free early before the crossover, we'll do
On
another little
Wednesday.
short
Mhm.
one. And if not,
I should know Wednesday.
crossover. I think we 8 o'clock, right?
No, we usually
Um,
do 6:30.
all right. Well, 6:30. Look, I don't know the times, but we getting there. We back on schedule, back on track.
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate you, Queen.
Appreciate you as well.
Shout out to the chat. Happy 4th of July, Memorial Day.
Happy 4th
I'm
of
sorry,
July.
Memorial Day, Independence Day. If you celebrate, if not, hopefully you guys are with family and having a good time either way. And until Wednesday, Yo Black is time, and we out of here. Any last words, Queen?
Dope Soul Sports Talk. Just Nicking It series tomorrow with I am Jarrell, Stafford Don, and whoever else wants to join us on the Dope Soul Sports Talk channel, which is my channel, tomorrow night, Tuesday, 9 p.m. If you haven't already, please subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe,
Subscribe. Yes.
share, all
Yep.
that, and yeah, send me the link, Queen. If I'm
We'll
out of
do.
working time, I will be there. If
We'll
not,
do.
I'm always tuning in. I'm in the comments.
Yeah, we'll do.
We out of here.
All right.